Mhm. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the stream. My camera over here is a little bit blurry. Oh no. They don't give me a preview before I get on, so you know what? We're gonna do the best with what we got. I think I have a polishing cloth somewhere, but that is all right. There we go. That is a little bit more decent. Yeah. Hello, 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 hello. Let me get our incense set up. We're gonna do a reading for the new moon in Aquarius because I just feel like it's really necessary. I just feel like it's really, really what we need to do a new moon. New moon in Aquarius. Is the moon in Aquarius yet? Let me look. I haven't actually looked yet. Let me double check to see if it is. Let's go have a look. See. Hello, hello. Hello from Greece. Hello. Also, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody coming in. The moon is at currently 29 degrees in Capricorn, so it'll switch over here anytime now, probably like 30 minutes to a half an hour. That seems pretty good. That seems really good actually. Let me get these lit and we'll sit. And we'll sit. I feel really like you know what it is today? I feel very much in my mother energy. Ooh, there goes the smoke. You can't see it on the other screen, but there it is. Yeah, you can't I feel very much in my mother energy. It's been a very interesting several days. That's what I'll say about that. It's been an interesting several days. So let me get these plopped in. Let me get these stopped in. We'll get the cards out. We'll get going because this new moon in Aquarius is going to be different. It's going to be different. So let's see what's really going on. What do we really need to know? Because sometimes we don't need to know, but sometimes we do. So if there's anything we need to know, let's let it come through. Let's let it come through. Let's see what's up. Hello to you. Hello to you. Let's see what's up. What do we need to see? Hard work? No. A path. A path. And order, construction. Let's look through. Order, construction. The mothers, that came out real like flippity. I don't know if you saw that. It came out and it flipped over my hand and then it landed, but it landed unseen. But I could see that it was flipping in the middle of the air. It's the mothers. Mother energy. Also, for some people, this is going to be birthing energy. It could be the mothers coming in to protect. And interestingly, in order for the mothers bring in order. Thank you. The mothers bring in order and an order for the mothers. The order for the mothers. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mothers bring in order. You know what? There's been a couple things over the recent 5 or 6 months. It's been about that. It's been about 5 or 6 months. Hi to you too. It's been about 5 or 6 months. The mothers coming through and bringing through messages around something is about to ground. Something is about to ground. The mothers surround sound and lots of shifts, lots of changes, lots of lifts, lots of rearranges, lots of us deciding on new directions, deciding to be in new directions. Okay. Let me get my other deck out, actually. We need to look at fate. Okay, fate. Why do we need to look at fate? I don't know yet, but we need to look at fate. Let's look at fate. Let's look at fate. Different weight with fate. What about this? Because one of the things that we're sitting in with this new moon, when it starts, Uranus is retrograde. So we're not going to be able to see very far into the future. We're not going to be able to see the chaos. We're not going to see the unpredictability. And it's like, what is unpredictable? We can't even see that there is something unpredictable, which is like, how do I say? A double entendre? Is that what that is? That's what that feels like. So silly. So silly. That was a lot of cards. I think we need all of them. I'm also going to turn this up. Be the bright light. That's how I feel about it. Okay. We got the Ace of Cups. Something coming up. Something coming up from the well. Something that fell in the wells coming up. Something that fell in the well. When I speak of the well, that's fate for me. Something fell in the well. What fell in the well? Was it a wish? Did you make a wish? You give fate a wish? You wish on fate, something fell in the well, something that you did. There's something that you hid, something as a kid The fate of a child, the fate of a child, something running wild, a wild child, a running wild child. If you got children around you, that's possible, probable. When you were a kid, for sure. Stories of the ancestors possible also when they were kids. Something coming up from the well, something that fell, something that you need, and it's only for you. It's only for you. Emotion coming through. It's only for you. A legacy, true. Your legacy, interesting. The grounding of, the weavings. Sometimes we have to come to, sometimes it takes more than one person. As someone who's very solitude in their life for a lot of the time that I'm around, it's really easy for me to kind of forget that we need other people just because I'm kind of on warrior mode consistently. Go, 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 go. Recently, Spirit's been having me shift out of that. It's a little bit different now. And also because I'm coming out of survival. That for me is a survival. I realized recently my warrior is a survivor. That's kind of how I fought through things. So now that that's shifting and I'm starting to be back in interpersonal relationships, friendships, communities, spaces, and places where there's people around me, one of the things that I'm starting to realize and remember is, oh, yeah, it takes more than one person. It takes more than one of us. It takes the lot of us. It takes sometimes two people, sometimes three, sometimes 10, sometimes 100. Sometimes it takes more than one person. And so there's something coming up from the well that you need. Is for you, and you'll be able to use that. This came up in a reading recently. I don't remember what I called the most previous reading I did, but it was in that one about something coming up from the well and then you having all the tools that you need to help everybody around you. It's like when people around you in your communities or your spaces or your friendships or your relationships, businesses, however those spaces might work for you, it's like you have everything that you need to be able to offer to other people. Oh, you need that thing? Well, I have the tool. Let me go and, I'll help you out. Something about being at the right time at the right place, because it's like Spirit didn't give you these tools, whether it could be like internal tools also. Spirit didn't give you these tools to just like not use them. But you don't need them anymore. So like your community needs them, your spaces need them. Okay, interesting. Something about weaving, combining. There is a new moon ritual that we're doing, but this is about more than just that. It's the combination. Aquarius also rules over our social spaces, social places, groups of people. Aquarius is not just your friends. A lot of the times we read the 11th house and we read Aquarius energy as like our friend groups. And while that's true, it also has to do with like who are you, parked next to at the store? That's also Aquarius 11th house. Who are you driving next to when you're wherever you're going? That's also 11th house. Who's the barista at the cafe? 11th house. Who is the clerk at the store? 11th house. Who's the person who's handling your paperwork? That's 11th house. 11th house is about more than just friends. It's about us living on the earth with other people. It's about us being here and Spirit having a plan that's bigger than the lot of us, but we got to work together. That's a part of it. That's a part of it. That's a part of it. We also have Two of Cups grounding. Interesting. Something surrounding the Two of Cups. Something surrounding the Two of Cups. It's a barrier, something about on the up and up. That sounds pleasant, doesn't it? On the up and up. Oh, hello to you. Something about on the up and up. Joined at the right time. On the up and up. On the up and up. What's really true around you right now? What's really true around you right now? What's really true? What you really got going on that's true around you right now? What really feels good? What are you in a grounded, courageous, loving, healthy relationship with right now? Could be people, it could be interests, it could be hobbies, it could be work, it could be whatever it is. Okay, it could be anything really, because you're your own human being. What are you in a union with right now? What are you in a happy relationship with? A healthy, loving, good, courageous, brave, loving, honorable relationship with? What are you in? Where in your life is that currently? Where in your life is that currently? Because a weight is about to fall off your back. Oh, that sounds wonderful. To fall off your back. It's like you don't have to carry this. I heard you don't have to carry this anymore, child. You don't have to carry this anymore, child. You don't have to carry this anymore, child. So it's like letting it go. I do you too. Letting it go. A weight off the back, no longer under attack. There's gonna be anybody else just felt real calm with what's going on? Anybody else felt real calm, real still, real I'll sit, I'll rest. I'll receive. I'm not going to be stressed because that's one of the things. How do I say this? We got the North Node moving into Pisces. I'm probably going to talk for a second because I have a feeling that we just need to go on this tangent together. So we're going to go on the tangent together. Okay. One of the things that Spirit brought to me recently about the North Node moving into Pisces, Pisces is about transition. It's about things picking up and moving. It's the rain cycle. So the water gets picked up into the air, gets traveled, then lands somewhere else. Picked up, traveled, lands somewhere else. It's about transition. Why is this so glitchy? What's going on? Hold on. There we go. Let me close out some other stuff. My computer has been moving real slow recently. So give me just a moment before. I'm going to get back on the train, but I want to make sure that this is not going to be a problem, not an issue, No more issues. It's because I've been creating a lot of content. My computer, I need to go through and clear my computer out. It is what it is, but you know what? Let me get it figured out. Aquarius also has to do with our internet, our interwebs, what connects us. So let me get this one closed. There we go. And probably after that, we'll be pretty good. If it starts glitching again, somebody let me know. Yeah, so if it starts glitching again, somebody let me know. Pisces is about transition. Let's go back to that. So Pisces, it being about transition, the North Node is about our spiritual purpose. It's about our spiritual path. It's about spirit callings and us not having any real skill or real understanding of how to create the thing that we feel like we need to do. We don't know how to do it. We don't know where we're going. We just know we got to do it. And so it's like this huge exploration, exploratory. It's not just about exploration. It's like, it is an elevation. When the North Node moves into a position, we're elevating in that space because we're going up. We're going up into the sky. We're going way up high. So when we're going way high up in the sky, then we have to be able to elevate ourselves on a continuous, constant basis. It's a lot. And with Saturn being in Pisces, it has to be consistent. We got to be diligent about it. Saturn's moving out of Pisces in the middle of the year. It's like May time. But for now, when the North Node moves into Pisces, is that happened yet? Hold on, let me double check. We got a lot of stuff that's going on today. Doesn't look like it. Almost though. It says 0.01 degrees. So close. It might switch over while we're in live stream. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I've been feeling really calm too. I've been feeling really calm, and it's important in this next sort of like the couple of years. It's important to stay in the calm energy because Pisces is the oldest and wisest trickster. It's the oldest and the wisest. Have you ever it's like the older sibling. When it's not even the older sibling. You know what it is? It's like the grandpa or the grandma that tricks the kid into doing something. Like instead of being like, get out of the kitchen, go on your way, go play outside. The grandma would say like, why don't you go pick me some flowers outside? They're so pretty. I want these to be, but really what they need is space in the kitchen. The kid doesn't even realize they got tricked. That's the power of Pisces trickster. The kid doesn't even realize that they got tricked. It's the oldest and wisest trickster. So, because you expect your siblings to trick you, right? That's why I moved up. I was like, no, we're going to go a little bit higher than that. You don't even realize you got tricked. And so with what's moving right now in the world, one of the things that Spirit told me is displacement. That's like the tool that's being used against love and elevation right now. Displacement. It's being used in different directions, different energies, different strategies, there's a lot of different ways it's moving. And also that's the opposition. There's an opposing energy. So when it comes to a changing position with Pisces, if you're going to make these transitions and you're going to make these changes in your life, you're going to make sure that you're doing the work you need to do. Really make sure that it's true for you. Don't do it just because there's somebody else saying something. Tricksters again. Don't do it just because there's like, how do I explain this? Make sure you're sure about it. If you're going to do something while the North Node is in Pisces, especially because Saturn is going to be moving in and out of Pisces and Neptune's moving in and out of Pisces at the end of his transit, just make sure that you're really sure about it. All right. Make sure that you're really, 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 really firmly, profoundly sure about it. Because if you are, then you're going to be protected and well directed in the elevations that you're receiving. But if you're not, then it's going to feel a little like not fun. There's a lot of other words probably that could be used for that. but it's gonna feel a little not fun. So still get your work done, still do what you need to do. And also don't do it if it's not really true. Don't do it if it's true for you, you'll feel it and you'll know, right? But if not, you gotta let it go. You don't have to, but it would probably be smart. You gotta let it go. If it's not for you, you gotta let it go. Okay. What else we need to know? Let's go to the fate deck again. Actually, you know what? Tea time. And then, and then. Be an agent of the calm. I like that. Mm-hmm. 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 Let's see what else is going on. Let's see what else is going on. An option. This is like, for some people, oh, this is really interesting. Okay, so let's go back to the moon. Let's go back to the new moon in Pisces. For some people, or the new moon in Aquarius, sorry. For some people, you're looking at your options right now. I've got this option and this option and this option and this option and this option. And it's going to be pretty easy for you to make a decision. Okay, this is the option I want. This is the thing that I'm doing. This is where I'm going. This is it. For some people, it'll happen later on in the moon cycle, but at some point in this moon cycle, at some point, it's going to be different for everybody. And depending upon who you are and the work that you're doing and what you're really moving in and what's going on in your life. Okay. And also, at some point in this moon cycle, there's going to be a grounding of an option. You're making it's a decision that you've already made and it's coming through. It's a decision that you already made wherever you were. I don't know, because it's your work, but it's a decision that you already made and it's coming through the ground. It's like, this is your one option. You already made a decision. You know, like when you're manifesting things, you're creating things, you're putting things together for you and your life and what you want. You and your life and what you want, that is ridiculous. Silly, great, fantastic. You made a decision a long time ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It was a while ago. A while ago, you made a decision a while ago, and now it's coming through to ground here. It's like, here's your one option. That's what I see, spirit. The spirits around you. It's like the spirit, you made the decision, and then the spirits kind of started moving stuff around, and now you're here, and it's like, okay, well, here's the thing we created for you. Hope you like it, because that's it. That's it. I feel like for some people, there might be disappointment. For some people, there may be like joy and excitement. For some people, I see people sitting and look at it and being like, is that real? Is it real? Is it real? Did it work? It worked, but is it real? Did it really work? So there's some kind of it's like that's really interesting. Like you didn't know what you were asking for. You did, but you didn't. And now it's showing up. It's like when we ask for things, they show up in unexpected ways, right? So now it's showing up. It's kind of big for some people, not as big for other people, but now it's showing up and you're like, I really asked for this? I guess I really did ask for this. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Something else about that. 3 of Wands and the moon in here too. Interesting. It's going to happen. There's going to be reaffirmations. It's not just the spirits bringing through like this is the only option. They're not just going to bring it through and be like this is what we created for you based on the things that you told us. This is it. They're not just going to plop it and then say nothing. They're not just going to deliver it and then say nothing. No, it's like what I see is like if you're on the phone with your spirit team or like if you're like in communication with them, right? You're like, yeah, when's the package going to get delivered? Like, when is the thing being delivered to me? If they're going to let you know. They're like, on my tracking end, this is what I see. Okay, it should be there. You're like, okay, well, is it this thing? Yeah, it should be there. It looks like, this thing, description, describe it. And so they're going to sit there and they're going to affirm it to you. They're going to let you know. They're not just going to plop it and let it go. If they do, if it shows up like that, probably a trick. Probably a trick, okay? What did you pick? Does it match up with what you said? Really, really search and look through your head. Really, really search and look through your head. Look through your head. You can heart affirm too. And there's a squirrel outside my window. It's like really, really close. It's like really, really close. The messages, let the messages come through. That's what the squirrels mean for me. Bringing the messages through. Bringing the message. How interesting. I've never seen a squirrel there before right now. Chitter, chatter, chitter, chatter. Okay, thank you, squirrels. Interesting. And you know what? Earlier today, I was driving and I was coming back to my apartment. I saw ravens sitting on the power line. It was very spooky. It was very, very spooky. It was very spooky. I was on the same road to a destination. I got to the destination. I turned around. I came back to my apartment. And when I was coming back to my apartment, there was a raven on the way there that flew over. Interesting. Okay. But when I was coming back to my apartment, there's ravens on the power line, and they were like pretty evenly spaced out. They were pretty far, like a ways away. And they were just sitting. All of them were looking in my direction. I was like, what? It felt like I was driving under the gates of some new place. It was really weird. It was really, 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 it made me uncomfortable, kind of weird. Not uncomfortable in a bad way, just like uncomfortable, like what's really about to happen? What's really about to, why are there ravens sitting on the power lines? The power lines? The power lines. Interesting. Okay. That might have a lot to say later in the reading. I'm not sure yet. Interesting. 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 Wow. What else? Coins princess. You got money coming through, but it's like what I see is it's like a river. It's like a river. There's a pool later on. There's like a gathering of the money. Could be what you're gathering, resources possibly physical, because coins is not only our money, it's about our resources in the physical. What resources do we have available to us in the physical? How are those resources available to us in the physical? And how do we nurture? The princess is learning to rule. The princess is learning to nurture. They're not in the queen position yet. They're still learning how to nurture. They're learning how to mother. They're learning how to uncover. They're learning how to discover. So it's like, physically speaking, when it comes to your resources, physically learning how to nurture that, physically learning how to, it's a learning. Allow yourself over that. We're in a new, it's uncomfortable. Okay. I don't know how many times I've said to my team and my people, I suppose that's true too. My team, my people, the spirits around me. I don't know how many times I've told people recently and the spirits, I'm uncomfortable. Things are different now. It's very different. And we're not even that far into Pluto and Aquarius, but I can feel it and it's different. And I feel almost like I don't know how to act. I feel almost like I don't know how to act. I don't know how to act yet, because I'm still going to be myself. I'm still going to be true and real for me, how I need to be. And I agree with that. And also it feels different enough that I'm, where am I at? What's really going? It's very different. It's very different. So in the uncomfortableness, in the newness, in the changes, we got to learn again. It's like learning again. We've already done it maybe, but we got to learn again. So like reaffirm again, something, learning again how to nurture ourselves in the physical, nurture our resources in the physical, nurture our bodies in the physical. We're learning again. To learn something again is to remember it. And this is like remembrance with an addition. That's what it feels like. It's like, remember that thing? Okay, we'll add this onto it. Remember how you nurtured yourself back then? Okay, well, in addition to that, here is your new practice. Do you remember how you nurtured your money back then? Okay, well, in addition to that, here's the new thing. That's what this feels like. So over Aquarius, this is going to be a very transformative moon cycle. It's going to be a very, very transformative moon cycle where it's like, remember that thing? Okay, we're doing something new. Remember that thing? Okay, we're going into this. Remember that thing? Okay, we're doing this. Okay, remember that? Here we go. Remember that? Here we go. We've got Uranus turning around and going direct in this moon cycle. Jupiter's going direct in this moon cycle. Mars is going to go direct in this moon cycle. So we've got some pretty big, that's 3 different retrogrades, So 3 different retrogrades going direct in this moon cycle. We got some changes flipping around. So it's like, remember, return. Remember, return, learn. That's the order. That's what it feels like. Remember, return, learn. Remember, return, learn. So we've got that essence coming through. Remember to take care of yourself with all of the changes and the uncomfortableness. I know for me, that's one thing Spirit recently has, because I'm doing a lot right now. And I feel like I could be doing more, but Spirit just keeps telling me, you got to sit and rest. You have to sit and rest, because if you don't, you already have a lot on your plate. You're going to make yourself stress. Sit, rest, digest. Don't be stressed. Sleep, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. They've been yelling at me over and over and over and over again. You think I get the message at this point, honestly. You think I would get it. You think it would go through this thick skull that I had, but apparently not. So I'm still learning also. Actually, no, this one's good. What else do we need to see about this? Another princess card. Interesting. Princesses inherit a larger position. Princesses inherit a larger position. This is the second time we've had a princess card come out. Interesting. If you're learning how to nurture things right now, this is a nurturance of creativity. It's the Wands princess. It's the princess of Wands. So you're learning how to nurture creativity. If you're learning how to nurture right now, this moon cycle, if you're learning how to nurture, look at what you're learning how to nurture. There's an inheritance in the future. 6, 9 months from now, a year and a half from now, around between like 6 months to a year and a half, it's gonna be a laugh, a ha ha. Oh, I get it now. Look at what you're learning to nurture. That's going to show you what the inheritance is, because there's inheritance. The sun is grounding. A reversal. The light not being cursed. The light not being cursed. What I see for an image is like, the sun is different than like an LED bulb, or like being under a whole bunch of lights in an arena, or, the sun is different than the light that we have made with our hands. And for a long time, what I see is there's some people who have been under what they thought was the sun, but really it's been like an artificial light, or like not as bright, or there's like they've been under like maybe a shroud or something, or so for whatever reason, you haven't been able to be directly connected where there is sun energy. Valid. Sometimes we got to go through darkness. And also, now it's like a grounding of it. It's like, okay, bring in the sun. Literally the other day, I went out on a run. I was done with the run. I was headed back to my apartment, headed back to my place, my space. And I kept like turning my head to the left. And I was like, Spirit, why are you having me look up? Let me look up, and also why am I doing this? And I was like, okay, well, let me just look at what I'm looking at then. And I turned around and I was like, oh, I'm looking at the sun. Interesting. And so I was like, okay, well, let me just turn and look at the sun for a second, because apparently I need to let the light come in. Let me turn and look at the sun. So I did. I turned and I looked at the sun. I stood there for a moment, let it soak in. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to start walking again. So I turned and I walked. So we got sun coming in this cycle. I'm grateful for that. It's going to be different. Brightness and light is different. We've been through a lot of shadow in the previous several years. We had the South Node in Scorpio. We had the South Node in Libra coming out of the South Node in Scorpio. And that's like the earthly endeavors. So we had to balance the darkness that we'd been through with Scorpio while the South Node was in Libra. It was a lot. By the next eclipse cycle, there's going to be things that are pretty different. It's like the rearranges kind of come to a balance and close. So that's good. We won't get into the transits that are involved in that, because there's like 20 of them. There's a lot. Maybe not that many. Maybe that was an exaggeration, but it's many of them. So it is. But that's the next eclipse season. And this is the final. I didn't even put the pieces together yet, but that's the truth. Oh my goodness. This is the final moon cycle that we had before we walk into eclipse season, because the new moon in Pisces is going to kick off our eclipse season. So hello. Oh my goodness. Oh my golly. I can because it's real and it's right in front of us. But we have 111 people in the room. Shout out for that synchronicity number. Seriously, this is the final moon cycle. I feel like we just got through the previous eclipses. Not really. It's been a lot of time since then, but like here we are. Oh my gosh. So this is a weird cycle, because this is a weird cycle. We got fate. Okay, love you weird, love you fate. Interesting. We're simultaneously starting something new, because new moon in Aquarius, we have Pluto in Aquarius, and this is like the beginning of the era of Pluto in Aquarius. So we're starting something really new, really big, but simultaneously, because it is the new moon in Aquarius and it is the final moon cycle before we get into the new moon in Pisces, which then is going to be with the North Node, and we have the full moon eclipse in Virgo coming up in that moon cycle. So we got the eclipse energy starting. It's also bringing closes to things. It makes sense then why we're looking back, remembering and learning to do something new. Interesting. Okay, so where do we really need to be? The energy just shifted for me. Where do we really need to be then? Because let me bring out my old deck. We need the old school deck. Something to check about the old school deck. Spirit's telling us to go back, look and learn. Let me go back to the old school deck. This is the first deck that I started reading with when I was on the internet. I started reading with this deck prior to the internet. I will also say that. And also, I've had this deck for a long time. I've had this deck, a deck to protect. I love this deck. This is a good deck. It's an empowering deck. It's an interesting deck. There's a lot of, also the cards are beautiful, but let's see what this one has to say. We need to look. We need to look. Go back to the origins. Go back to the origins. What do we have? Money. Money? Alchemy. Who's been doing money spells? Who's been doing money spells? That's what that smells like. Who's been doing money spells? Was it you? Was it me? Was it we? Was it he? Was it she? Was it they? Was it them? Who was it? Because somebody was doing it. Somebody was doing money spells. You got money spells. You got money wells. You got money bowls. You got money fools. What you got? Because money is on the mind. Money is on the mind. Something to find about money on the mind. Creativity cannot always be for money. Creativity cannot always be for money. If creativity is always for money, you're bound to an order where you're not free from money. Money also has to be free from you. Imagine if you were in the same room with somebody all the time. Go away. That's how I say that. Oh my goodness. Imagine if you were in the same room with somebody all the time. I would be no, I reject that. I don't want to sit in that. No. Don't put me in the same room with somebody all the time. I don't want that. 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 No, let me have the freedom to go and roam and do my thing. So if you're creating, it can't always be for money. Sometimes you got to create because it's honey, because it's sweet, because you want to, because it's a sweet little treat. I love my sweet little treats because it's a sweet little treat. Okay. If you're creating, it can't always be for money. If you're creating, it can't always, you got to balance it. You got to balance it. You got to create and help the world. And the money creations will easily happen. So, because I feel like this is what I see is some people kind of stressed about it. It's like stressed about money, stressed about the create. Sometimes you got to create just to create. I'll receive that. That's true. Sometimes you got to create just to create. What else do we need to hear about this? I'm surprised we're looking at this deck. I haven't read with this deck in so long. Okay. King of Swords reverse. Something about the mind coming to unbind. Unbinding of the mind. Unbinding of the mind. What do we need to unbind in the mind? Unbinding of the mind, not in the mind. Mind coming, unbind the mind. Ooh, and justice. Justice has had you stuck in a headspace. Okay. What do we need to see about that? But you're leaving. You can't see that you're leaving. You don't even really know what you're leaving yet. Interesting. You don't even really know what you're leaving yet. You just know that you don't like where you are. Something about where you are is not right. Mentally speaking, it's like how do I say this? It could be blindness. It could be unkindness. Maybe you don't feel like yourself. Something mentally happening, mentally unbinding. Mind is being unbound because what I see is it's like, how do I explain this? What's the vision I need to explain with this? Is it a vision I need to explain with this? What I see is someone going through, and it's like somebody what I see is another person. So if you've been interacting with other people throughout the years, it's like somebody put it was supposed to be like a crown or like it was supposed to be something elegant, maybe divine, maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's supposed to be something good. They put it like on your head. But it was like it like locked on and wouldn't let go. You couldn't take it off. It was always there and you didn't want it. It was like you're stuck after that. Gross. So justice, what I see is justice, like there's something about justice. Like this is it's doing justice to you, that part of your work. If that is something that happened to you, it's doing justice to you. It's doing justice to you. It's like what I hear is like, it's like a debt being paid. So it may not be your debt. It could be another person's debt. It could be an ancestral debt. It could be, I don't know where it comes from, but a debt. There's a debt of some kind. So justice is like, okay, well, you sit with the debt then. Pay your time, pay your dues. Did you do the work that you were supposed to do? Because what I also hear is like you were tasked with like community service, or you were tasked with some sort of like, is it altruistic? Is that the word? Some sort of like hype it up, like give back sort of energy. You are tasked with that. Like basically like be a good person is what I hear. Like, can you be a good person and also be stuck in this? Can you be a good person and also be placed in a position where you have to pay these debts? Can you be kind? Can you be diligent? Can you be discerning? Can you be learning? Can you be loving? and also still be in a position where you got to pay these debts? Can you do both of it? Can you simultaneously cross it? So justice is like, yeah, it's doing you justice, and that it's like a weight on the mind. Oh, something is about to unbind off the mind, and then be done, and you're leaving after that. Let's see what else. And when we're leaving, we're receiving. So what are we going into? I would like to understand, if we can, what is it we are receiving? Well, that's happening in this moon cycle. Interesting. A decision that you cannot see. You know what? Interesting. This is not where we're going. This is where we've been. And I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to see where we're going yet. That's fine. That's all right. We're not going to see it then. That's okay. Where have we been? A decision that you made. You made a decision you didn't realize you were making when that person put that thing on your head. You made a decision you didn't realize you were making. How do I explain this? Hold on. Let me sit with it first. A person you forgot about, a practice you forgot about, something that you're trying to figure out. It's like, where did I make this decision? Where did I make the decision? Maybe it wasn't you who made the decision. Maybe it wasn't you who made the decision. Maybe it was somebody else making the decision. It's also like guilty by association is kind of what I hear from this, except it's not guilty by association. It's like somebody else made the decision to give a debt to you. So when the debt's through, you weren't even supposed to, it's not even your debt. It's not even your debt. Spiritually speaking, it's not yours. It's not your debt, but somebody gave a debt to you. And in giving the debt to you was like, here you go, pay this. They're going to get dumped with, I heard a word that I should not say on live, a lot of, a lot of debt. It's like, okay, well, they haven't even been working and grooving in what they've needed to be moving in, because justice has been watching them too. Have they been kind to people? What stories have they been telling about you? Like, you agreed to help them. You didn't even realize that this was a spiritual debt that they were trying to pay. Interesting. Because what I see on the other side of this debt getting paid, even though you can't, this is the kind of spiritual debt that you can't pay for somebody else. Just like you can't take people's gifts from them, there's some debt. Debt is a personal thing in the spirit. It's ancestral also, but that's also a personal thing. So, debt is a personal thing in the spirit. This wasn't your debt. You can't just give somebody else a debt. You can't do that. You can't give someone else a debt. It's only the debt that we create for ourselves is the ones that we're responsible for and accountable for. So there's debts. It's like for some people, more than one person. For some people, this is more than one person. For some people, it's one person. For some people, it's more than one person. So discern for yourself how that might work into what is going on if you resonate with this. Justice needed you to learn how to not ever return to that position ever again. Making sure that you're not ever accidentally handed a debt that you can't pay. So it's doing justice to you. It's doing justice to you, because in the end, it's like protection. Protection. How do you protect yourself? How do you protect yourself from picking up things like that again? How do you make sure that you don't have to go through those experiences again? How do you make sure, have you done that work? Have you made sure? Are you true? Are you really, really you? Because if you are, then justice will alleviate things. Justice will make sure that, because what I see on the other side is like people who've been doing that work, it's just like this huge pot of gold. It's just this huge pot of gold. There's so much money. There's so much. It's like, how do I say? It's like, like the leprechauns at the end of the rainbow, and they gotta look at that. The Irish ancestors coming through. Okay. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Thank you. And But a lot of the times it's like a haha, you followed the rainbow, but you just had to keep going. Like there isn't an end to the rainbow, you know. There's not a pot. There is no pot of gold because there is no end to the rainbow. I don't actually know a lot of myths around that, but that's or like the stories around that. But that's what's coming to my head right now. Is like you can't ever make it to the end of the rainbow because the rainbow doesn't ever end. You're just gonna go in circles and circles and circles and circles and circles. So it's like something does have to end. That's the point of it. Is like that something does have to end. There's an ending that's coming up. You can't see exactly what it is yet. You don't know where you're going, and you don't really remember when it started. That kind of blindness is kind of scary, to be honest with you. That's a little bit like, let me sit with it. Let me look at it. Let me understand. But if you're being blinded in the spirit by the spirits who are trying to help you, then you're not supposed to look at it. You're not supposed to understand. You're not supposed to have the clarity of it. Blindness is sometimes a tool to make sure that you don't lose innocence too soon. Sometimes we just want to know and we want to know and we want to know and we want to know. And I want to know right now because I want to know right now. But if you were to know right now, it would be really, really hard for you to handle the truth of it. It'd be really, really hard for you to understand and have like a heart that could handle it. And so sometimes the spirits on your team, the spirits around you, the highest spirit, they've got to prepare you. Okay, here's this little bit of wisdom. Here's this little bit of wisdom. Here's this little bit of wisdom. Here's this little bit of, here's this one and this one and this one and this one. Okay, you can handle all of that. Well, now because you have the tools to handle it and you have the wisdom of understanding of what this really is, now we can show you the truth of it because you've done all this work to prepare yourself to receive, not being blind anymore. So it's like you receive being blind, and it's like the awareness opens the door and you're able to walk into more. Awareness opens the door, you're able to walk into more. And it's you're not going to be able to go back either. You're not going to be able to go back. Once you leave this place, you're not going to be able to return to it. Whoever gave you this debt, also, whoever tried to give you this debt, whoever kind of forced you into this position where you had to carry debt that wasn't yours, they're about to be locked away for ever. That's what I hear. That's a clever thing. And ever, where there is no end, they're just going to be stuck in it. Well, for them, that's what they have earned, apparently. If it is, that feels very solemn. That feels very solemn. Because at that point, listen, I'm a lover. For the better, for the worse, okay? That's just who I am. I'm a lover. And so hearing that, even though, because on a personal level, I have had to walk through something similar to this. And even hearing that about the person who, you know, has done that to me, I'm looking at that saying, I wish they didn't have to go through it. I'm not going to waste a wish on it, like an actual wish that I could wish something on, you know what I mean? But like, it's theirs. And also, ooh. Interesting. That's interesting. Going on an adventure. I love adventurers. Let's pick the mood back up a little bit. I have a feeling. What else we need to see? Adventure time. What's that song? Adventure time. Come on, grab your friends. We'll go to. Isn't that literally the Adventure Time theme song? Duh. I think so. Yeah. Projects. Okay. Traveling, picking up, moving on, riding on, projects, working, creating. No longer debating. Pick it up, get it up, move it on. Pick it up, get it up, move it on. It's a very like energetic spirit. It's a very, sometimes we need to sit in the energy of sit, chill, still, the will. Sometimes we got to get up and get going and get moving. Get up, get going, get moving, which is the energy that's coming in soon for anybody who is interested and curious astrologically. February, it's like the next couple days. And then moving into February, get up. The lovers. We love a good lovers card. It came out face down, so it's like you can't really see it. Are you going with this person? Are you meeting this person there? This is lovers, the lovers. For some people, it's gonna be friendships, going on trips with people that you love. Good friends, good people around you. For some people, it's going to be your like partner, a person, a lover, A lover. Creating together, though. That's real interesting. Creating together. Creating together. What would you create together with your person? And if you don't have a person, friend, maybe possibly, business partner, okay, a person, somebody that you love to live life with in the capacity that this would fit into your life. That's true. The lovers, what's really going to happen? What are you going to create with them? It's not just about what are you going to create. Let's look a little bit further. Let's look a little bit further. Creation. You've had to leave a lot of stuff behind. You've had to leave a lot of stuff behind and be on a grind and be in the work and have to go by yourself. And finally, there's people around you. Thank goodness. I'm grateful for that. Finally, there's people around you. It's like finally you can be the lover that you were meant to be. Didn't I just say I'm a lover? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So thanks, Spirit. Finally, you can go on and be the lover that you're meant to be. You've also been alone. It's like you've been extra isolated. You've been isolated. Isolated. Both of these cards that came out, it's like so isolated, very isolated, very, very isolated. Isolated from friends, isolated from groups of people. You had to walk your own way for a long time. People who have been in isolation or moving through situations where you've had to kind of like move people out of your life for a long time. And that's a subjective amount. That is, for you to decide on what that really is or how long that is. But a long time. For me, it's been several years, okay? Several years of leaving situations, leaving people, and having to go my own way. So now we're going on adventures and we're creating, and there's the lovers involved. No problem to be solved. It's just like, what are you and these other people going to do? What are you going to create together? What are you going to create together? What are you going to do that's really clever? What are you going to do that would be together? What are you going to create? You're supposed to create together. We're back in unionship with other people. That's part of the energy we're walking through right now. So we're back in unionship with other people. Then how are we moving and grooving together? How are we moving and grooving together? You did not have to get that song stuck in my head. Sorry. Is there anything else we need to know about this one? Yes. Times of blindness are almost done. Interesting. You know what? When is that? Hold on. Let me look and see. When Mars goes direct at the end of February, we're going to have a lot of light coming in. And I mean a lot. A lot. There's going to be a lot of light coming in. A lot. More than probably we expect. More than is expected. Light, clarity, truth, honesty, revelations, clarity again. Over and over and over. And then we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries at the end of March. And that is going to be, how do I explain this? It's like you thought the lights were turned on at the end of February, and then you find another light switch, and those floodlights. You ever seen one of those like big flashlights where it's a floodlight and it like lights up the whole forest? I can't even imagine looking into one of those, but that's how much light is going to be around at the end of March, and kind of throughout March time too. It's going to be really intense, especially if you're someone who kind of lives in the extreme of things. I know for me, I've been extremely in the dark for several years now. Slowly, I've been transitioning. It's different though. Slowly, I've been transitioning. Let's look there. Let's see. For people, this is going to be for people who are joining in on the new moon ritual here in the next like 24-ish hours. Let's see what we need to see. Our minds are going to transition. How we nurture our minds is going to transition. We're going to change the way that we think about things, change the way that we're nurturing. Nurturing our mind also includes like drinking water. It sounds simple and maybe not as connected as we might think, but it's true. So the way that we nurture our minds is going to transition. Lots of fools. I love that. Lots of fools. It's like fools, not in a bad way. Fools as in, okay, it's the Seven of Swords. And the person who's on this card really looks like a court jester, like a fool. The fool, How do I explain this? The fool knows they're a fool sometimes. The fool knows they're a fool. If you don't know anything, you know that you don't know anything. This is not a person that doesn't know anything though. So it's like in tarot we think of the fool as the beginning and the ending, right? This is not the same thing. Sometimes a fool is a fool to be cool. You ever met somebody who like pretends to be stupid but it's a joke, but they know that they're pretending to be stupid and that's why it's funny? You ever seen that in a person? You ever seen that happening? Okay. There's a lot of that energy going on. The new moon people who are going into the new moon ritual is like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I think that that's funny. Oh, it's like, oh, I didn't know that. It's like talking to people because it's Aquarius energy. Oh my goodness. So it's like this group work that we're doing. I'm so looking forward to it. Oh my gosh. You're going to start to run into people and they're going to say like the exact right thing at the exact right time at the exact right place. You didn't even ask for it. They're just going to show up and have the words, and you're going to be like, oh, I had no idea that was going on. Oh, I had no idea. Oh, I didn't know. But you knew. You totally knew. You have been knowing. It has been known. It's like you're the one who made the phone call for whatever that was that they're talking about to happen. And then that person who saw the thing happen is going to come and talk to you. So it's like a confirmation or an affirmation, but it's like playing the fool. It's like, oh yeah, like I had no idea that was going on, when in reality you're the one who started it. But it's like you didn't, not that you didn't mean to start it, because you totally meant to do the work. Again, this is for the people who are joining in the new moon ritual. It's like you totally meant to start it. You totally meant to light the candle. Burning it down is not always destructive. Okay. Sometimes it's constructive. Thank you, Spirit, for that. Sometimes it's constructive. So you meant to start the work, but it's like people who don't know anything about that work, maybe people who don't know anything about you, maybe people who don't know anything about me here on the internet, which I take no offense to that. It is what it is. People who don't know anything about it are going to come and tell you about something that's going on synchronistically with that work. And it's very much just like, play it cool, play the fool. Play it cool, play the fool. That's all right. They don't have to know. You know. You sent out the call. You're the one who opened the candle up. You're the one who opened the work and lit the magic. Okay, interesting. That's another way you keep your work private. That's also true. A chariot to drive will arrive. What do you mean by that, Spirit? What do you mean by that? Let me knock on the deck a little bit. Let me get some of the energy shifted and rearranged. Because that's a very I feel it doesn't feel like there's going to be any more messages with that card. So let me just lift it up for a second because I need clarity on that. I need some clarity on that. A chariot to drive will arrive. Okay, let's see. A chariot to drive will arrive. What do you mean a chariot to drive will arrive? Charging in. Interesting. Something grounding about charging in. And there's butterflies on that. Of course there are. Charging in. Here we go again. That's what I heard. What I hear about that. Here we go again. Might as well. That's kind of how I've been feeling about this new moon ritual spell. Is like, how do I say this? When I was going through the phase of my life where my consecration was being, the initiation of it was being activated, or the consecration of it, pardon me. The consecration of the initiation was being activated. And now recently that consecration has come to finalize. Back in the period where the consecration was activated and kind of like lifted up so it could land where I am now. Back in that time period was like so much chaos going on in my life. And like, it was a time of like charging forward, getting stuff done. And that's how I've been feeling recently with this, is like, we might as well, do the work. We might as well pick it up. That's how I've been feeling about it. We might as well pick it up. We might as well charge into it, because who else is going to do it? Where else? Who else? I'm sure there's other collectives. This is not me throwing hate, shade, shame to them. Not at all. Good for them. Go do the work. What I mean is like, if we don't do it, where else is it going to come from? If we don't do it, where else is it going to come from? Okay. This will not be a moon cycle of rest. It's not stressed. It's just not a moon cycle of rest. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of work to get done. That's also true for people who are in the room right now who are doing this new moon ritual on what, like the next 24 hours tomorrow sometime. If you're not familiar with that sort of charge energy in your practice, it's going to start to be, you'll get like energy, the magic will come to you, the energy will come to you, you'll have the energy to do what you need to do. If you have those calls put on you where it's like, I feel like I got to get up and go do this, I feel like I got to get up and start this thing, I feel like I got to get up and clean, I feel like I got to lean into it, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it, lean into it. Because if you put that out, it's like if you were to go and put the candle out in the work, don't put it out. If you have that like coming through, we've talked about in the group chat some discernment differentiations. That's not what I'm talking about with people who are going to be out of the house or have pets, animals and stuff like that. Not that part of it. But when it comes to those inspirations, it's like if you're inspired to go do something, let yourself be inspired, because here we are, we're taking it higher. You've been hired. It's time. So it's like time to get up, time to do the work. You got to get up. You're going to have the energy to do it. Okay. You wouldn't be asked to do the work and not have the energy to do it. You wouldn't be asked to do the work and not have the energy to do it. So if you feel like you're in the energy to do the work, or if you're being called or asked to do some of the work that is associated with that work that we do on the new moon, then just let yourself shift into it. Let yourself be the gift. Sometimes we got to lift it. That's just what it is. And I say that because sometimes people who are unfamiliar, like if you haven't ever done work like that, or you haven't ever made an offering to the highest spirit, it's different. It's different. It's real different sometimes, depending on where you come from. It's different. It's different. It's very different. It's very different. It's very, very different. And you'll be asked to get up and move and groove and create. And they go together. And you're going to be given the energy to do that. So it's like you do the work. You're being asked to do the work, and you're also being given the resource energetically to be able to do the work. So it's not something to be like afraid of or scared of. It's just like, you let yourself know, if you got to get up, it's time to go. If you got to get up, it's time to go. It reminds me of, how do I say this? There was a point in time earlier in the previous, we'll say like about 6 months. I'm not going to talk about specificities, but there was a work that I was called to get up and do. I was in bed. I was asleep. I was in bed. I was asleep, going to sleep. And I was called to get up and do work. And I was like, I'll do it tomorrow. Guess who didn't get to sleep until it was done? I was up until like 3 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. I spent all night doing it. And then I got really sick because that's what I needed. I'm not saying you're going to get really sick. That's not what I'm saying. The work that I did back then required that I got a sickness, and it was just a necessary part of the order. And that's what it is. And I'll leave it at that. So that's not probably going to be a necessary part of this order. It's not going to be a necessary part of this order. Let me speak it clear. It's not going to be a necessary part of this order for the new moon ritual tomorrow. And also, let yourself, you got it. If you're given the energy and the resources, is like, okay, go do it. You kind of have to at that point. It's like you signed up for it. It's different. For people who are unfamiliar with it, it's different. So just be prepared of like, there's probably going to be some like assignments kind of that are given to you. Yeah. I'll pick this one up now. I kind of want to do another look into what that new moon ritual is going to bring us, though. I feel like there's still some more. Ooh. A birth is death reversed. A birth? A birth? A birth? A birth. I also heard a hearth. A birth? A hearth? Don't carry too much. If you don't feel like you need to do the ritual, don't do the ritual. If you feel like you're ready to do the ritual, create the ritual. If you feel like you're ready, you're ready. If you're questioning it, don't do it. If you're questioning it if you're questioning it, if you're going to sit with it and understand if you're ready or not, that's learning discernment. Learning discernment for yourself. Learning discernment for yourself. But if you're really not ready to do it, then you're not meant to sit in it. And that's totally okay. That's totally all right. I'm not going to be mad at you. Spirit's not going to be mad at you. More than likely. If you're really not ready for it, then don't do it. If you're really not ready for it, don't do it. If you're really, really not ready for it, don't step into it. If you're really not interested, maybe you might be interested but not ready for it. Really sit with your discernment. If you've been questioning, is this the time for me? Is this what I need to be? Sit with yourself. Do you feel like it's true? Do you feel like it's you? Do you feel like it's what you need to do? And you might find it is. Okay, well then come join us. You might find it's not. Not my time, not my thing, not my work. And that's all right. That's all right. Some people are not meant to fight like that in the spirit. Some people are not meant to fight like that in the spirit. Because it is the work that we're doing to root in what we're rooting in, liberation, free truth, to root in that is work. It's work. It's work. It's work. It's work. It's work. You don't just light a candle and then all of a sudden things happen. No, you light a candle and then there's work that's done. You light a candle and then it's not always so fun. You light a candle and sometimes you got to sit and talk to the ancestors you might not agree with. It's the roots that we're rooting in, right? So it's work. To do this sort of work is work. It's work. It's work. It's not just like some fun, trendy thing. It's work. It's work. It's work. So if you're really sitting with it and you're wondering, am I really meant to step into that? Am I really meant to do that? For some people, it might not be your thing. It might not be your thing. And you're not supposed to do work that's not yours. That's okay. That's okay. You're not meant to do things that are not meant for you. That's what it means to be the real you, the true you. And if truthfully and real in yourself, you don't feel like that's what you, then don't do it. Then don't do it. Don't do it. You're not going to impress me. You're not going to, like, I'm going to take no offense if you just sit and not do it. If you feel like you don't need to do it, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not an extra assignment. If you don't have the room for it, don't do it. If you don't have the room for it, don't do it. If you're ready for it, I'm really grateful that you're joining in. And if you're not ready for it, don't do it. Okay. If you're not ready for it, don't do it. There's still another one to come in. Oh my goodness. But if you step into it, like, there we go. We started. Now we're in the work together. So that, if you're not ready for it, don't do it. I'm ready for it though. I'm ready for it. That's why I'm walking into it. That's why I'm offering it to other people. I'm ready. Here we go. I'm ready. Here we go. We being whoever decides they're ready to go with me. But if not, then we don't need to be. And that's totally cool. And I'm not going to be offended by it. I'm not going to take offense by it. I'm not going to be offended. So just be true to yourself. Okay. Be true to yourself. What else do we need to see? This may be... Have me singing. Leave this over here. The world. Something. This is work that's going to affect the world. We may not know exactly how yet. We may not know exactly why yet. We may not know exactly where yet, but it's work that's going to affect the world. Bring in interesting trade. Okay, so this is going to be more of what to look for. Remember I said in the group chat, if you were in the group chat for the Coven support page, remember I said in the group chat that we've got, what did I say? Pay attention to things kind of pan out, synchronicities that happen. That's what this part is about. When it comes to international trade or like overseas trade, pay attention to that stuff once the work starts. There's another card for that one. Ground scores. You ever heard somebody say ground scores? Where it's like, the way that I know this word, I'll introduce it the way that I know it. I used to be into festivals. I haven't been to a festival in a long time, but I used to be into festivals and I was going to festivals kind of often. It was like a phase in my life or like a stage of my life. But I remember being at festivals and people would say like, oh, that's a ground score. It's like something that got left on the ground and was just around. Something small, like a trinket or something like, something that probably wasn't going to get returned to whoever it was meant for or whoever dropped it. People would pick it up and call it a ground score. That's what I have seen. People would pick it up and call it a ground score. And so because there's all this energy that's up in the air right now, because there's all these shifts and happening, all the changes going on, okay? With all that moving and grooving up in the air, there's going to be some things that land on the ground around you where it's like a ground score. It's things that it's like, it's not ever going to get back to its original person. It's not ever going to make it back to them. It's yours now. It's been placed in front of you for a reason. You could look at it. You could pick it up. You could do what you want to do with it. And also there's going to be things around where it's like, oh, that grounded. Oh, that grounded. Oh, that grounded. Interesting. So this is a work that's going to help to activate things coming to the ground because of the chaos that's around. Oh, interesting. I am grateful to hear that. There's a reading I did. It's been coming up recently that with Pluto and Aquarius, there's something bouncing around up in the sky, but it's going to take some time to come to the ground. Spirit's telling me probably Pluto retrograde is when that's going to become like finalized. But if this work that we're doing is helping to ground some of the stuff that's been bouncing up and around, okay, let it come early then. There's some other cards. Let it come early then. If it needs to, let it come early then. Let it come early then. I'm tired. Spirits are tired. Aren't you tired? Let it come early. Let the grounding come early. I'm ready for the grounding to come early. Let the grounding come early. Am I really ready for that? Because I definitely just said that out loud. Let me keep my tongue. Let me keep my tongue. I don't know if I'm ready because I don't know what the grounding is, but I do know that I'm ready for the work to work. That's what I'll say about it. There's also going to be some new perspectives. New perspectives. We're not supposed to see the destruction. It's the Tower card, and I flipped it over and then immediately was like, I'm not supposed to look at that. I'm not supposed to look at that. I'm not supposed to look at that. Justice on the bottom of the deck too. I'm not supposed to look at that. The Tower moment. I'm not supposed to look at that. I'm not supposed to look at that. I'm not supposed to look at that. If you're doing the new moon ritual work, discern for yourself. There's a lot of destruction in the world right now. You may not be meant to look at all that. You may not be meant to look at all that and look at it and see it. If you're called to stop watching that kind of stuff or to stop looking at that kind of stuff, don't look at it. Don't look at it. I'm not supposed to look at that. That message was more for me, but we are doing this work together. So if you feel on the new moon ritual work, so if you feel like you're not supposed to look at that, the Tower destruction stuff, because I flipped it over and I was like, I'm not supposed to see that. I'm not supposed to see that. I'm not supposed to see that. Let it just be where it is, but I'm not supposed to see that. There's going to be new perspectives that come in. Again, a lot of mental shifts. A lot of mental shifts. A lot of mental shifts. The people who are doing this work, the new moon in Aquarius, a lot of mental shifts. Your mind's going to start to shift. You're going to start to realize a lot more. It's not just realizations. It's like mind shifts, mind gifts, mind shifts, mental gifts, mental clarities, truth, mental shifts. I see what I see is the wind coming through the wind coming through the mind and like clearing things out, picking things up. It's like you clean up the head. Clean up the head, clean up the hair, clean it up via the wind. Kind of reminds me of, I remember when I was a kid and we had those big when computers were still like these kind of bigger machines, right? I remember we had those like air compressor things and you could like squirt it in the and it would like clear out the dust in like the small little spaces you couldn't get to. That's kind of what it reminds me of, is like coming like, it's not going to be so precise and so direct. It's just going to be like a wind force is what I see. But that's what it reminds me of, is like the air coming in to clear the dust out that's been settled there for a while, or like pick up some things. So lots of air work. Aquarius is the air. Okay. So lots of air shifts, air gifts, mental air lifts. One of the parts about Pluto being in Aquarius is just being very discerning about what you're sharing with other people. That comes to the head. Things that are happening mentally, be discerning about what you share, when you share, how you share it with other people. That's going to be my final word on that. Okay. Interesting. Because I got some other things I got to do today. So we're going to let it be. We're going to let it rest. We're going to let us see. And if tomorrow you're doing that work with me, I'm looking forward to it. Here we go. Yeah. The let's do this. Let's do it. I feel that for real. It feels different. It feels good. I have a feeling that let me run it back for just a second before we turn off the live stream. What was it that came through? Things are going to ground early. Because that's one thing about me. If you're going to do this work with me, if you're ever going to do the ritual, like group work with me, something you should know. things come early when I do work sometimes. Things come early because I'm usually in preparation mode. That's why I teach on the transits and I work with the way the transits are transiting is so I can be prepared. Because for me, when things go wrong, it's because I'm unprepared. So I would rather be prepared. Let me keep my eyes on it. Let me be aware of it. Let me be in preparation. Let me be ahead of whatever's going to happen. Let me be up above it. Let me be in front of it. Let me be where I need to be, wherever that is, with what the work is. So if you are going to do this work with me, just know as a priestess where I sit, I'm on it. So more than likely, like the clearing out of the air, there's going to be some order of discernment things. Not to say that you're not on it. That's not what I not mean. That's not what I mean by saying that. I'm just saying as someone who's bringing the order of the work through, it's going to be a preparation. There's different work coming through after this. It's not completely true. Spirits brought me an idea. I haven't yet made it super clear, so I don't want to share it here yet. But this is a preparation work. It's a preparation work. So if we're getting prepared to go do something else, if we're getting prepared, what's really going on, we're clearing out, we're rooting in what we need to root in, we're making sure things are looking how they need to look, we're making sure that we are who we need to be. Okay, well then let's move on, let's go do the next one. So this is for me, it's a preparation work. For people who are doing this work, the new moon ritual work, this moon and what is to come, then it will also be preparation work. For other people, if you're just doing this one, you don't come into the next work with us, that's totally fine. It'll prepare you for what you need to be prepared for, and that's just what it is. So wow, interesting. Okay. I've got to get the exclusive subs blog out today. So I'm going to go do that. I've got to get their work up and going. I got a lot of stuff to do today. I'm like also cleaning the house and like getting things. It's been a lot. I've been resting a lot recently, which has been necessary. Spirit keeps telling me rest. I can feel myself. I'm not sick, but you know, when you're like on the edge of getting sick and you know, you need to not overdo it. That's how I feel right now. And they were reminding me of a time where I was overdoing it and I did get sick so that I could sit down. And they were like, do you want that to happen? No. Okay, so rest. So I'm today still needing to rest while getting this work done. So I'm going to let the live stream be. We're going to return at another point. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. If you're interested in the new moon ritual work and you are not on YouTube, because there are people on YouTube over here. If you're on TikTok and you're seeing that and you're interested in the new moon ritual work, there's a video up on YouTube explaining it. It's like an hour-long video. It's very specific. It's a very simple work, but it's very specific. So bring a notebook. Cool. And if you're also new to that, check out the community Coven page linked in my bio. Okay. I think that's it. I think we're good. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.